All right, it is 5:13. We are listening to Deafening Roar, and we're gonna keep edge highlighting. Welcome to my hobby desk. Let's keep edge highlighting. So we're going with Dawnstone Citadel layer paint, and we're going to be applying this with a small layer brush. This is a brand new one. My old one wore down too much, and I bought a new one, and we're gonna keep working on the backpack. Relative to my ability with edge highlighting, I'm happy with how the little venti things came out on top. We are going to put a line down the middle where there is a slight indent just to draw some more division between the two sides of the grab chute. The one here on my left, I like how it came out. The one on the right, I do not like how it came out. So we're gonna do some cleanup with the black when we get to that stage. Now to the main body of our Space Marine. These Primaris Reivers are built with many armor plates, and we're just going to trace around the edge of each one and get a line of gray. We do this for the sake of contrast. Normally on a Marine, you would have whatever your main color is, or really any model, you'd have your main color, and then you would have a degrees darker than that for your shades and degrees higher than that for your highlights. And then this contrast is what makes the model appealing. With black, you can't get any darker than black. So we have to do more work on the other side with the highlights. So we're going to edge off each individual piece of the armor to show where their divisions are, to give contrast so that people can kind of understand the whole piece instead of it just being this big black blob that's sitting right there. Both because my eyesight isn't great and because the piece is small and the details are small, I'm going to be doing a lot of this off camera, and I'll kind of pop back in and show you the progress. But I'm just kind of starting at the top and working my way down the model, trying to find every pronounced edge and putting this line of gray. As often as I can, I'm actually using the side of the brush and I'm angling it against the edge and just rubbing it along. When I can't do that, I'm trying to get as close to the side of the very tip as I can to continue that edging. And I'm trying to use the pronounced angles of the model as much as I can to help guide that. And the way these Reivers were built, even the rounded knee pads have a pronounced edge to them on the most part, which makes it easy to run your brush along that edge and get a nice straight line. I mess up all the time, but we're going to come back with black and clean a lot of this up. Advantage of having it pinned on the cork is that I can hold it however I like to have the best angle to get in at the edge with my brush. On the head, we want to get around the edges of this vent thing that's on the top, and then around the circular bits that I painted metal, they're kind of inset in a cubic shape. So we'll get around the edge of that. And then we also want to get the top of the eye rim. The bottom of the eyepiece will actually be part of the skull that we'll be working at later. While I was doing this, I noticed some places that the primer didn't catch very well. So we'll cover these over with the matte black paint when we do the cleanup all over. Having the right amount of paint on your brush is pretty crucial for this, so I am reloading often, and I'm probably putting a little less than I need just so I don't overload it. All right, on to this arm. Again, there's a few pronounced edges and some little details to edge highlight around on the arm. On the gun, I'm mostly going to try to catch pieces of the hand grip. The top portion of the gun I'm going to paint red later, so we don't need to do that right now. Maybe remember that I didn't do the handle of the gun here on the Reiver. And I think this is, when you look at the different bits, this is the part that is the most off on these guys, is the scale between the weapon in hand and the weapon in holster. On the bolt pistols, it's not as apparent, but at some point in the future, I'll show you what a holstered grappling hook gun looks like, and it is way smaller in the pocket than it is in the hand. We're going to move on to our second layer of highlights. We're going to do wolf gray, and this time we're just looking for the highest or most pronounced edges, and any time that two lines meet at a corner. So I'm just doing a little bit in the front. I'm doing the corners here on the buckle. I'm going to do the very crest of the knee. And I'm going to kind of rotate around and look at edges that are sticking out or sticking up a little bit farther than the ones around it that would catch the light, and just doing a small portion of that. This is going to be more noticeable on the helmet. And I'm going to try to do some of this on the backpack, and the curvature on the top. I'm not super happy with how it came out, so we'll probably clean some of that up. But on the helmet and on the Marine itself, I liked how it came out. Brightness between the wolf gray and the dawnstone is probably a little more than what you would traditionally use on this, but I'm just using the paints that I have, and this is the one that seems the most appropriate for the use. And then once the whole mini kind of comes together, the contrast between this layer of highlighting and the dawnstone won't seem as extreme. Right now, when you're just looking at the black, it seems very apparent, but the paint dries not as bright. And again, once I get the leather details on, the gold details, and it kind of all comes together, and that's not the contrast between these two layers of edge highlights won't be the thing that is grabbing your attention. It'll just blend into the overall mini. So here on the helmet, again, we're just going to do the corners. It's going to come pretty close to touching in the front of the vent, but I don't actually have it touching in the front of the vent. And we're going to do the top of the cubic portion above the circular little metallic portion. I need to go online and find out exactly what these pieces of Space Marine armor are called at some point, but for now, they're just going to be the square thing around the round thing. I'm going to hit the grav chutes at their highest point, and I'm going to try to get some of the curvature at the top of the backpack, but again, I don't really like how that came out. It was pretty sloppy. So when we clean it up, we're going to try to tighten those lines in. And again, with the lines meet on the grav chute, I'm going to go a little bit to the other side of them so that it cuts around the corner. We're going to do one more quick highlight. This time we're going to be taking the Glacier Blue that we've been using at various points along this project, and we're just going to put a little dot on the corners where two lines meet, or at the very crest of a curve. And this will just add a little bit of a bright point as if the light is glinting off that corner. And again, once it dries a little bit and it's not so bright, and then once it's set with all the other details, it'll just add a nice little effect that'll be very subtle, but it'll look pretty good. That is all of the edge highlighting that I wanted to do for the black, and that is all I had time for this morning. So if you modeled this morning, or you hobbied this morning and took a video, please link it in the comments below. I would love to take a look at it. Tomorrow, we're gonna come back and start working on the leather details and clean up some of this black and metal. Till then, have a good one.